Further negotiations here. I'm joined right now by Congressman Anthony Brown of Maryland, who we're going to discuss this because, sir, I know with you, your border, this is personal with you. Your district borders Washington. You've got a lot of constituents who work for or around the government. How will they be affected by this shutdown, if at all? What are you hearing?
Look, Alex, this is a bad deal for America, and it's particularly burdensome on the district that I represent. 4th Congressional District in Maryland. It has the 5th largest number of federal government employees. These are men and women who go to work every day in service to the American people. They are food inspectors who are going to be off the job. People who work for TSA and do customs inspections at the border, at the Port of Baltimore, they'll be off the job. The president has a responsibility to keep this government open, or to open it up, and he's failing the American people.
There was a bill that was passed, and I believe, you may correct me if I'm wrong, sir, that it was passed unanimously with regard to back pay funding for those people in Maryland. It was supported by Senators Cardin and Van Hollen of Maryland. It's because they've got a lot of people that work in their district. These folks in Maryland are the ones that are doing the job of the federal government, but at least they will be guaranteed their back pay, correct?
Look, back pay is important, and that is likely to happen. But keep in mind, and before I came to Capitol Hill this morning, I was in the dry cleaners. And that small business owner told me that folks aren't coming in today because there is anxiety and there is uncertainty. And the same could be said at the barber shop.
That's what they're worried about? They won't be able to pay their dry cleaning bill or their haircut?
Look, when you're talking about being on furlough with a promise that you'll get paid, people tend to hold on to their money. And that's really difficult, particularly when we're in the holiday season. This is supposed to be a big spending weekend. So this federal government shutdown not only hurts federal government employees and their families, but it hurts small businesses in communities around this country. Mine particularly is hurt because we've got a large number of federal government employees. So that's why I'm calling on President Trump. Negotiation aside, he's got the ability to open up the government now. There was an agreement, bipartisan agreement, to keep government open, not only through the holidays, but well into the new year. And then he threw a grenade into the room. He put Speaker Ryan in a full Nelson. He wrestled him to the ground. The Speaker cried uncle. And next thing you know, they're asking for a $5 billion border wall. It's unacceptable. We can open up the government. We can talk about border security in the context of comprehensive immigration reform. That's where the discussion needs to be had. Today, we need to be opening up the government, and more specifically, President Trump, open up the government.
Congressman Brown, I know that the president has suggested in the past the military would be the one building this wall. And I know that you, sir, asked Defense Secretary Mattis to weigh in on that. Did you ever hear from him on this matter? I mean, now that Mattis is leaving in February, where does this stand?
Sure. Look, I sent a letter to Secretary Mattis. He's been asked about this on a number of occasions when he appears before the House Armed Services Committee. I think there's a general acceptance right now, an understanding between both Democrats and Republicans that President Trump does not have the authority to build a border wall using military construction dollars. Not today. He would have to get authority from Congress, and that's not going to happen. Because remember, the majority of Americans oppose building a concrete structure on the southwest border. So it's not going to happen.
Is there something that you're looking for, either names or criteria, for James Mattis's replacement come February?
Certainly, if we can get a Jim Mattis clone, that would be wonderful.
Ideal,
but that's,
right.
Yeah, it's ideal. I mean, he has the experience. He's well studied in the art of war, and he understands diplomacy. He's a Marine warfighter. He understands military families. He understands the use of military force. So we want someone who's going to be principled, who values our relationships with our allies and doesn't do anything to undermine it, who is going to be a moderating force on President Trump, who tends to, not just tends to, he actually does undermine our allies. We're looking for someone who understands that when we make our commitments to partners like the Syrian Defense Force, that we hold true to those commitments. Someone who supports our soldiers and is not supporting the president, or is certainly advising the president against military parades, against dubious missions like sending active duty to the southwest border. So that's what I'm looking for in the next defense secretary.
You've got a long laundry